you're gonna have the packet that you probably saw first when you first signed up. Cross-training challenge, that kind of goes over a little bit
This way he hasn't had the turn.
in depth. I don't know, have you guys seen this? You've seen this one? Okay. So that kind of explains phase 1, phase 2, which I'm gonna get to in a moment. Membership information, all yada yada stuff. Supplied a group fitness schedule, which we're gonna go over. Of how you can kind of incorporate that into the training itself and other good stuff. On your right-hand side, you got a desired body fat percentage check sheet, so that's what we're going to use later on as well today. And then you have your cross-training challenge packet. So, in this packet, you have everything that we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to go over really just the physiological stuff today. So it's not going to be too in-depth of how to start training yet as of yet. We're going to talk a little bit about cardiovascular training. But other than that, we're going to really stick with the basics first. You're going to get your resting heart rate tonight. I'm going to get your blood pressure down, so you can write all that stuff down. And then we're going to probably go into, I think you elected to do the skin fold test, right? Howard, did you elect to do the skin fold body fat?
No.
Okay.
I moved, the best thing I ever did was move up here. Really, 230 I weighed when I actually weigh less now than I did when I got
That's
married
good.
the first time.
That's good. Yep. And then Laura, you didn't request it, right?
I didn't, because I've done it with you, so.
Yeah, so you and I will do it right after.
Okay.
Sound good? All right. But I am going to do girth measurements if you guys want me to. And talk about cardio at the very, very end. So I know how to improve on cardio exercise. So next week, we're going to go a little bit more in depth about cardio. Okay? But we're not going to talk too much about it today, just depending on the time that we go over this. Okay? So, the purpose of the cross training challenge is for you to utilize the entire FRC as a whole and not just one bit at a time. So if you're a swimmer and you've been swimming for so long, it's important for you to start, doing strength training or start doing yoga training or start doing anything else that's not just swimming. Okay, vice versa for land people. We really want people to get in the pool as much as possible, just as much as we want pool people to come back on land. So the idea behind the cross-training challenge is just that. We want you to be and to feel comfortable being in both realms, land and water. And we're going to provide you plenty of opportunities to do both. So we want you to do what's known as the 5 components of fitness. And actually, I'm going to write some of this stuff on the board. But when you have, would you prefer that one? Let me know if you can't see it. So when we do training, we got the 5 components of fitness. And so first component of fitness, there's no particular order really. We have cardiovascular. Okay, that's one component of fitness. We have muscular fitness. And that actually gets broken down into 2 different variables. Okay, muscular fitness is actually muscular endurance and muscular strength. Okay, but as of for the class in week 3, we're going to be talking about muscular fitness. Okay, as a general sense between endurance and strength. So it's going to be kind of combined into one. Then you have flexibility training. Okay, flexibility training in the sense of, you can do yoga or Pilates, but also doing different forms of flexibility training such as dynamic stretches. This is the 4th and final week that we're going to talk about this, but dynamic stretches, PNF stretching, which is kind of like I don't know, have you ever heard of isometric contractions before? An isometric contraction is just a muscle contraction that doesn't require you to move at all. Come on in. How are you? Good. Sorry I'm late. No, you're good. Hold it right here. I dismantled it, so I apologize. There you are. Do you need a pencil? Paper?
Yes, please.
All right. I'm just going over kind of what we're going to be talking about for the next few weeks.
Awesome.
Okay? So in the flexibility training, you have the isometric contractions, okay, so that's called PNF stretching, but it's when your muscle is contracted, but it's not actually moving, okay? It's like holding a plank, that's an isometric exercise. So we're gonna hold a lot of those stretches. I'm gonna be able to demonstrate all of this training. So starting next week, we're gonna spend hopefully about 15 to 20 minutes in here, and then about 10 to 15 minutes out in the courts experimenting with what we've learned, okay? So we can apply it. And then lastly, we have body composition as a component of fitness. And body comp is important because it kind of determines how much lean body mass we have compared to fat body mass, okay? So if you're overweight, it's one thing to be overweight, but it's another thing to be skinny and overweight. So you see that a lot of times. People will be super skinny, you think that they're pretty healthy, but that's not necessarily the truth. Okay, they could have a lot of fat body mass on them and a lot less lean body mass than you would think. So doing body composition in the form of body fat assessments, okay, that's what's most important. So that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, so the cardio we're going to hit at the tail end tonight, as well as tomorrow, next Monday. Then we're going to tackle the muscular fitness, flexibility, body comp. We're not going to tackle because we're going to include it in tonight's discussion as well. And it's kind of straightforward. It's nothing we would spend 15 or 20 minutes talking about for the sake of the class. So that's what we're doing. And then the following phase, so after you've done this for 4 weeks, you have assignments each week. So starting this week, okay, your assignment is to be able to monitor your heart rate during your exercises that you've done for this week, okay? And that way we're going to incorporate, when we talk about the cardio next Monday, about how to incorporate your perceived heart rate. So we can do a talk test. We're going to go over all this stuff on next Monday, but just looking ahead, that's what you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to grab your resting heart rate. I'm going to teach you the importance of the numbers that you're ranging on, which if you flip on the next page in your little packet, you should have a little chart. And on that chart, you'll see, so on that chart, you're going to see kind of where you fall within your heart rate, right? This is heart rate. Okay, so women are on the top in the red, and the men are on the bottom in the blue. So right off the bat, we're going to learn how to do our heart rate, okay? Some of you already know how to, some of you don't. It's no big deal. We're going to take our 2 fingers, okay? It doesn't matter what 2 fingers you pick, and you can either use your radial pulse, okay, which is the most accurate, okay, or you can use your carotid up here. Sometimes you got to feel around for it. It's closer to the thumb sometimes. So go ahead and nod when you have it. Got it?
Wait, I lost it. Okay.
All right. If you keep losing it, you do your carotid. It's no big deal.
This isn't as accurate though?
By a beat or by like a beat or so. It's fine.
You angle your wrist down a little bit.
Sometimes it's tricky if you've never done it before.
You'll get a better pulse.
Yeah.
You just point your thumb down.
Yeah, if you let it rest on the table, that's best. But yeah, if you can't grab it, no big deal. So we got it?
Mhm.
All right, ready to start counting. And stop. And you're gonna multiply that number by 10. Okay, so write that number down. And you're gonna write RHR stands for resting heart rate. Okay, and then look at that chart to see where you fall. Now, true resting heart rate is identified right after you've woken up, okay, and you average 3 days in a row. So, when you've been sitting for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes like you have, that's pretty good, okay? It's an easier way to get your resting heart rate up, right? As soon as you wake up, best thing you can do is take it right away, because your body's at rest. So if you really want your true resting heart rate, that's the best way to get it.
So I think I did it wrong.
Why?
Because I got 5.
So multiply by 10, so 50.
Yeah, well, I'm not an athlete. And I'm not, that's 54 to,
Go down.
Now,
I'm in this age range.
Yeah, but go down to here where it says above average, average, below average 4.
Yeah, but where's 50 on this?
So some people have naturally a low heart rate, and some people have a higher heart rate,
Okay,
46 to 55.
but I'm 50.
What's that?
I got 50. So I'm even off, I'm not off the chart, and I know darn well,
Yeah, but like I said, it's
Okay,
subjective.
so-
It's
okay,
you know what I
so-
mean. But you're gonna be in the top shelf right here. So if you're an individual that has a low heart rate, okay, then this is difficult for you to see as well. I'm not an athlete just because of a low heart rate, but generally speaking, the lower your heart rate is, okay, the better fit you are, okay. But if you have a low heart rate and you are not very active, or you're questioning yourself, like, well, I don't know, I always have a low heart rate, then you know, to not base off of your athleticness. Does that make sense? So, if you go out and you run every day, or you're strength training every day, or whatever it is that you do, and you're like, wow, my heart rate's really high, then you know that you suffered from a high heart rate. Okay, sometimes your resting heart rate isn't a determination of your health, okay, because you may have a complication or something that arises before that. Okay, does that make sense? So, but taking your resting heart rate, we're going to use what's called the Carbonin formula, which isn't in your packets, and I'm going to have you write this down. I'll put it on the board for you. So the Carbonin formula, Karbonen, Carbonin, is like, it's based off the simple formula for your heart rate, but it takes into effect your resting heart rate. So you're going to take 220, there's a little bit of math, and if you need my calculator, I got one. You're going to take 220 and you're going to minus your age. Okay? That equals your maximum heart rate. You got that?
yeah.
So, generally speaking, again, whatever your maximum heart rate is, we would never really go above that heart rate when we train. Okay? Does that make sense? So you're going to take your maximum heart rate, and you're going to minus your resting heart rate. Okay? Maximum heart rate minus your resting heart rate. And that equals your heart rate reserve, which I'll get to in a second. Should be a relatively low number. Okay, not too low, but should be a lot
Now
lower.
explain that again.
Yep, so you're gonna take 220 minus your age,
Got that.
equals your maximum heart rate. Then you take that maximum heart rate, okay, whatever that may be, minus your resting heart rate that you just took. Okay, and that equals your heart rate reserve, which I'm gonna get to in a second. Well, I'll do that. Yeah, alright. Then you're gonna take your heart rate reserve. This is where it gets a little tricky. You multiply by 55%, or 0.55. Once you factor that number in, you add back in your resting heart rate. And that equals a target heart rate at the low end. So if you need a calculator,
Then you add in your what?
your resting heart rate. After you've done your heart rate reserve, multiply that by 55%, you add back in your resting heart rate. That equals 56, and then we add back in your resting heart rate. So that's 126, what I got. Can you-
Yeah, so,
So what's your heart rate, or what's your heart rate reserve? So when you minus your maximum heart rate minus your resting heart rate, what is that number?
199 minus 50, so,
Where'd you get 199 from? Your max.
yeah,
220 minus your age.
51.
Mm-hmm. So that's 169. And then you minus your resting heart rate, which is what?
That was this?
Yep.
50?
Okay, so that's 119, and then we take 119, we multiply that by 55%. That equals 65. And we add back in your resting heart rate. So that's 115 for a low end. Okay, 55%. Did you get yours?
222.
What's 222 is high, so there's a
Yeah,
mistake
right.
somewhere.
And-
So
and I
what
didn't
was
catch
your
it.
heart rate reserve?
Okay, I was 65, so my heart rate reserve is 155.
Okay, so we multiply that by 55%, and that equals 85.
85.
Yep.
Okay, maybe that's where I messed up.
Yep, and then we add back in your resting heart rate, which is what?
Was 70,
Okay,
so that's
155.
55.
Yeah, that still seems high though. Let's see. This is when it gets a little tricky, but. Oh, so we got a minus, yeah, your resting heart rate, that's what I forgot to do. There we go, 116.
116?
Yep. You get that number?
No.
All right, so what's your age?
All right, 36.
84. What's your resting heart rate?
60.
That's 124, then we take 124. Multiply that. Add that to your resting heart rate. So that's 128, very low. Okay, so that's 55%. So 55% of your maximum heart rate means that you need to be above that to get cardiovascular benefit. Okay, so when you're on the bike and you take your heart rate, or you're on the elliptical and you take your heart rate, or you're running, okay, or swimming, or whatever that you're doing, you take your heart rate. If you don't have the number that you just got, okay, if you're not above that number, you're not getting cardiovascular benefit. Okay, so it's super important to be above 55% when you're working out. Now we're gonna do the same thing. Okay, we're going to take that heart rate reserve, which is from your maximum heart rate minus your resting heart rate. And then we're going to multiply by 90% this time. Add back in your resting heart rate. This equals your higher end of your target heart rate that you're looking for. So 103 is your heart rate reserve. Yep. So that's 92, and then your resting heart rate. 162. Yep. Heart rate reserve. No, that's your resting heart rate. What's your heart rate reserve?
Maximum minus that.
How old are you?
151.
Bam, bam, bam. 169 minus your resting heart rate. 19 times 7 plus 157 for your 90%. Yep. You get yours?
My resting heart rate is 85.
And what was your heart rate reserve? Remember that number? That's your maximum heart rate minus your resting heart rate.
116.
116, and we're gonna multiply that by 90%. So 104 plus your resting heart rate was what? 70?
Yes.
Right. So that's 174 as a 90%. Get that?
84 times 90 plus 60 is what?
So your heart rate reserve, I don't think it's 184.
Oh, no?
No, seems high. So we take 220 minus 36. That's for each, and then that's 184. Then take 184 minus your resting heart rate, which is 60. Yep, so that's 124. 124, yep. And then we multiply that by 90. So that's, no worries. Then we add back in your resting heart rate, which is 60. So 171. That's your 90%. All right.
You can work out 55 to 90%.
Exactly. So when we're training, okay, specifically cardiovascular training, okay, when our heart rates are elevated, we need to be between 55 and 90% of our maximum heart rate. Okay.
How long did you count? Did you
Yep. So that's a 6-second count.
6 seconds.
Yep. Good question. 6-second count, and you multiply that number, whatever that number was that you counted, by 10. And that equals your heart rate. Okay. Super easy way to do it. Instead of multiplying by 4 or by 6 or whatever. Now your machines are gonna tell you that your number, whatever that number is, based on when you hold it, if you work on the machines, okay? So make sure that you train in between those numbers that you just got, okay? If you're training too hard and you work above your 90%, Okay, that's bad. It's not bad in the sense that your heart's gonna explode by any means, you know what I mean? So, but what's gonna happen is if you train too hard for too long, okay, that is taxing on your heart. Okay, so you need to incorporate different styles of training, which we're gonna get to next week, okay? But for this week, all I want you to focus on is keeping yourself in between these two numbers, okay? That's known as moderate training, moderate intensity, okay? When you're about 60 to 70%, that's moderate intensity, okay? You should be able to say a few words in between sentences, okay? You shouldn't be out of breath every word that you're trying to say, okay? That's 90 to 95% of your maximum heart rate. 55%, okay? You can probably say a sentence or two sentences complete without taking a breath, almost, okay? So if you're able to talk like we are talking right now, no problem, and you know you're not working hard enough, okay? That's called a talk test. Talk test is an easy way for you to understand where you currently are. Another test is called rate of perceived exertion. It's RPE. And the RPE is a way for you to match your heart rate to what you feel as an intensity, okay? So for example, when I work out and my heart rate's 185, I feel like I'm pretty exhausted, okay? On an RPE scale of 1 to 9, okay, I'm like an 8 or 9. I can't go for 185 beats per minute for too long, okay? 20 seconds at most, probably. Your heart's pounding and pounding and pounding, okay? But an RPE of 1 is like this, okay? You're chatting, no problem. Now when you're at that 55% to 70% for the moderate intensities, the RPE could be 4 to 6, okay, depending on where you are. That's where you want to try to calculate that. Those charts are actually at the gym, so next week I can show you when we head over. They're pretty neat. But anyways, for your assignment for this week is just really play around with your heart rate, okay? Try to really take note of it, whatever you're doing. Take it throughout your day, okay? See how much it affects you when you're standing or how much it affects you when you're sitting. You'd be surprised at how much it drops and how much it fluctuates. So I don't know, do you have that smartphone? Yeah?
I mean, iPhone.
Yeah.
Yep, iPhone.
Yeah.
The iHealth app for iPhone users, and if you're a Samsung or other user, S Health is an app that you can use. Like this phone has a heart rate sensor right on the back.
Yeah,
Just put your finger on it, okay? I don't know if iPhones have that or not, but iHealth counts your steps and counts everything, and it can actually help calculate your level of activity, which is pretty neat. So most smartphones do that nowadays. But so do you have any questions about components of fitness or the heart rate or anything like that? No? Pretty good so far? Alright. So on the next page, on your right hand side, you're gonna see a little bit about blood pressure. Anybody tell me about blood pressure? Monitor it. Pretty much, right? Other things, of course, but when people are hypertensive, okay, which you have a chart right there of different stages of hypertension. When people are hypertensive, one of the best things for them is to simply walk. Okay, that really brings down your blood pressure a lot. There's a gentleman at the gym that walks every day for 20 to 30 minutes and drops his blood pressure from 185 down to 120, I think, in just 20 minutes of walking.
And then how long does it stay down?
For 4 or 5 hours. Yeah. And the longer he does it, of course, the longer it would stay down. But it's pretty remarkable of how walking really is a cure for.
It gives you a tremendous amount of oxygen for one.
Yeah.
It excites the nervous system.
Yeah, it reconnects. Yeah.
So
yeah.
it not only, it activates the muscles.
Yeah. No, keep
Yeah,
going. Yeah.
Being in fresh air and walking is probably one of the healthiest things you can do up here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Great thing is up here, you don't have to worry about flat ground. There isn't any.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Always challenging yourself. That's right.
I remember the first time going back to New Jersey. I had been up here for a year, and I got into a rest stop and realized, oh, flat ground, I can walk fast.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So yeah. So blood pressure is pretty. I mean, self-explanatory. You probably get that done every time you go to the doctors. Okay. Speaking of doctors, getting a yearly physical is always important. If you haven't been to the doctor in a while and you're starting this training program, by all means, go tell them, hey, I'm starting a program. Just thought I'd let you know. Because sometimes things come up. We just want you to be as healthy as you can be. So after the blood pressure, you're gonna see girth measurements. And we're gonna just do this stuff right after we get done with the pages. Girth measurements are a way for you to determine an overall healthy lifestyle. So on that little chart, okay, I can do it too if you'd like me to. You don't need to do it if you don't want to. But if you want me to do your girth measurement, okay, you're gonna see that chart on the right hand side, the little colorful one. To the left of that is actually a skin fold assessment. And that determines, it's based on body fat percentages on the charts. So you see that you have essential, and then you have athletic, right? Yep. So you have essential, athletic, fitness, average, and obese on that chart. See where I'm looking? Or see where I'm saying? So you can see how drastic the difference is between women and men on that chart. You see that? Men need as little as 2 to 5% of essential body fat. Women need as much as 11 to 13%. Okay, that's just essential. That means that you need that to be healthy. Okay, if you have anything less than that, depending on your gender, it's not safe. Okay.
Is that all through your life or after you had kids?
Well, I mean, pregnancy is different. Yeah. But yes, generally speaking, yes. So it's important to fall within some sort of norm that you see on that chart. Now, if you're on the tail end of that, okay, on the obese side, then that risks of concern, right? We all know what obesity leads to. Plenty of complications later on in life. So, you can have one extreme or the other extreme, okay? So always happy medium is in the middle, okay? That's why the average is in the average category, okay, are what you would expect for them to be average. And people's body fat percentage change drastically depending on how active they are, okay? Depending on how much high intensity stuff they do. So when we get into the topic for cardio next week, we're going to talk about different forms of intensity that you're going to be doing, okay? There's high intense, like HIIT training, high intensity interval training. You have regular moderate training, boot camp style training, which is a combo of circuit training and high intensity interval training. So there's a lot for you to kind of get in on, but the goal is for you to apply that, what you can do on land, to the pool, okay? Because the pool isn't just swimming, okay? It's a lot of vertical stuff that you can do in there. Weight training you can do in the pool. You can do a lot of core stuff in the pool that you would never be able to do on land. Less damage on your joints in the pool, which is awesome. So my goal is definitely get in the pool as much as we can. So maybe 1 week we'll head in the pool, we'll do what we've done in the land. I think you're the man for that, right? Yeah. Nice. All right, so on the next page, you're going to see a little bit about cardiovascular training. And given the time, I don't want to take too much of your time. So what you can do is you're going to take this packet home, okay? And I just want you to kind of skim through. You don't need to read the whole thing, but I just provide it to you if you wanted to read it all. All the benefits of cardio exercise. Okay, I think I provided about 19 different facts for you. 18 or 19, I don't remember. And then come next week, okay, we can discuss what you've learned over the week, because I would like this to be more of a discussion than me just lecturing to you. Okay, discussions are the best way for you guys to learn and apply. So next Monday, we're going to meet here, okay, and we're going to be about hopefully 15 to 20 minutes in here, okay, depending on how much time you guys have. Okay, I don't want to take too much of your time. And then we'll go over to the fitness center and we'll do something, okay, whether that be a circuit type workout or a moderate workout, or whatever it is that you guys want to do. I'd be happy to show you and even do a class with you. So, you know, determine on the time, how much time are you willing to give on Monday nights? Do you want to do like a half hour? Do you want to do 45 minutes? An hour? I mean, I can be here as late as you guys want me to be. Yeah.
I'm committed. I don't worry. I look at my arms and, you know, more than 66 soon, and I thought to myself, there's no reason I should have these sags under my arm and nothing above it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, and truly, it blows my mind. I moved 2 tandem loads of rocks by hand. I jackhammered boulders as big as cars out from underneath my house.
Yeah.
Spent one winter day and night under there. You would think I'd come out like the jackhammer. I walking out one day, my wife said, "Listen, I can't believe I'm so sore. I got no muscles." You know, that's what I was muscle mass.
All right.
That might.
Yeah. So, but does a 45-minute to an hour time block work for you guys?
Work for me, yeah.
Okay, so we'll spend, then we won't rush it. We'll spend 20 to 30 minutes in the class, and then we'll spend 30 minutes doing a little circuit each week. And so after the 4 weeks, okay, after the end of February, you have 4 weeks to apply what you've learned, okay, to which you have to record on that data. So I'm gonna write down this message that Jen sent me, and I'll write it in black. Put it on that board. So this is gonna be how you're gonna document all the data that you've done. Okay, so if you've done any strength training or if you've done any cardiovascular training, this is where you're gonna put it all.
And we're
So
not doing it for the first 4 weeks?
You're gonna do it every week.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
gonna-
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
But the,
Next week.
right,
Okay.
but for after the 4 weeks after we're done talking, you're gonna keep track of everything. Cardiovascular training, muscular fitness training, flexibility training. So this is how you track. And it's kind of a long website, so I apologize. We have two options. Write down the first one. HTTP. I'm not gonna announce the whole thing. www. Yes, I get it.
I was just about to say, you sure about that, Mike?
Yeah, UMF. I'll just yell it out. .main. .edu. /FRC. /cross dash training. You can read my handwriting. Dash challenge. Dash members. Dash. Only. /. And there's another direct link, so this is where the form is. Okay, this is the page right here. There's a direct link, which is your HTTP. Goo. It's funny. .gl /forms.
That is a weird website.
/LOJZ TGL capital L, capital Q, lowercase b. I don't know if that matters, uppercase b.
So what is that one?
That's a direct link to the form. So go to both, okay, just to make sure that they're both there.
So what is it? It's T, G,
Yep.
capital L?
Yep. Q, lowercase b, and then P.
Is the Q capital?
Yep.
Is this
See
a
it?
form that we print off?
Hopefully this form
Or-
is, the form that you've already filled out is one of these. I wasn't able to look at it yet, okay? But in Jen's email that she sent out, she said, participant should use the link below. I am totally okay with changing the form as the users see fit. As you get feedback, let me know. I toss around the options for them to record each time they work out.
So we're supposed to do it on paper, not online?
Both, I think.
Oh.
Just go to this and find out exactly what the form looks like, okay?
And are we gonna get this in an email, or we're gonna use right here?
I can, yeah, use that, okay? And if you have any problems, then I can email you the direct link, okay? So just shoot me an email.
It might be set up just for preference too. It could be online and
Could- yeah.
paper, and it's just whatever you want to do.
Yep, could be. Okay, I'll find out for sure, okay? Because I had to get everything together, so it slipped my mind to actually ask Jim. So, yeah, go to each one of those just to see if they're different, okay? But this is how you're gonna document what you've done, okay? This is kind of what the whole point of the challenge is, to see how far you've come from the beginning. Now, you don't need to document every single exercise routine that you do, okay? I personally wouldn't want to do that, it's a lot to do, okay? Especially if you work out 6 to 8, 7 times a week, you know what I mean, that's a lot of data. So, periodically throw in something that you've done, okay? If you go to classes, I think I said that. So pull out your group fitness schedule. I almost forgot, is that the most crucial part? It should be on your left-hand side. Yep, that one right there. All right, so on your group fitness schedule, you're gonna see a bunch of different options, okay? Now, we weren't able to, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna highlight classes that you could count toward the training, okay? But for right now, what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna have you circle, okay, or star, or dot, or dash, whatever you wanna do, next to classes that count toward this training, okay? So, for example, we're gonna start right in the morning. Your cycle classes, okay, at 5:35, that will count towards cardiovascular training, okay? So you can put a C next to that if you wanted to. Nope,
In the morning?
nope, that's no big deal. Your yoga classes at the 7 o'clock time frame, okay, that counts as your flexibility, so that could be an F. Water workout, okay, that's typically, I'd probably consider that a combo of cardio and muscular fitness, because they do a lot of different stuff in there. And that's your 7:30 water workout as well as your 10:30 water workout. The next up is Pilates. That would definitely be flexibility as well. Maybe even muscular fitness. I'll have to chat with Jen about that one. We'll chat it over. Then you got functional fitness, which is for hard-time members. That's typically for more of the elderly population. Okay, you're more than welcome to go to that. But they generally just teach about functional fitness. Okay, how to get up from a chair, how to stand up, it's that kind of stuff. So we're gonna not include that one. You have your pure strength. Okay, all of your pure strength are gonna be muscular fitness. There's several of those throughout the week. Different instructors. Cardio blast, you can probably figure out what that one is. It's gonna be cardio. We're just moving right down the times.
And these step ones that were back in.
Oh, sorry, yep.
Those are cardio.
Yep, steps gonna be cardio. Good call. And then we got kickboxing. Most of the new time classes are gonna be cardio and strength. So your kickboxing would probably be cardio. Then we have total body fitness, which would be strength, or your muscular fitness. Core fit would definitely be muscular fitness as well. Moving down, all your cycle classes again are going to be cardio. Some of them include a total body workout at the very, very end, the last 15 minutes, but for right now, we're just going to consider that to be cardio. Boasted ball conditioning, that is, I teach that. That's pretty heavy into muscular fitness, I'd say. So it's got a little bit of cardio in it, but mostly muscular fitness. Then we have the boot camps. Okay, that's all three. Boot camp is cardio, muscular fitness, and flexibility. Because we teach a lot of different dynamic stretches, static stretches at the beginning and at the end. Yeah. Yeah. Zumba, that'd be cardio. Yeah. And then we have, like I said, your yoga is going to be your flexibility. Functional flexibility on Monday nights, to which I won't teach while we're doing this class, this flexibility. And then your last one that I see on your sheet is the second core would be on 6:30 on Wednesdays, and that's going to be cardio. Okay, so when you go to any one of these classes, okay, you can include that as part of your cross-training challenge. Okay, so that's the goal. That's what we wanted to do. So that way you can have a variety of different classes for you to get as much information as you possibly can. So when you go to these classes, try to take note of what you're doing. Okay, play around with your heart rate.
So there's nothing on the weekends?
As of right now, no. No. We don't have anything for the Saturdays and Sundays.
So how often?
So
For
how-
me, let's say, if I want to build muscles, obviously I have to get into the muscle building section.
Muscular fitness, we're gonna get to in the third week. Yep. The third week. After next week, we're gonna talk about muscular fitness.
So this week, do we have a certain amount of minutes we're supposed to do?
So, generally speaking, and as recommended by ACE, which is American Council on Exercise, you want to get 150 minutes of cardiovascular exercise per week. Okay. Jumping the gun, but I like it.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I'll give you a little sneak peek.
If I remember right, we have that information in our pamphlets too, right?
Yep, some of it. Yep, you have some of it. But yeah, you want to try to get 150 minutes of cardio training per week.
So that means within the 55 to 90%.
Exactly, yep. Now vigorous intensities are a little bit different. You don't need to do 150 minutes of vigorous intensity, okay? That can be split all the way down to like about 75 minutes of vigorous intensity, okay, for the week. But a combination of vigorous and moderate intensities are what we're looking for, and that's what we're gonna next week. We'll talk about that stuff.
Not just all vigorous.
Right, exactly. Yep, moderate intensities are just as important as vigorous intensities.
And what's boot camp?
Boot camp's pretty vigorous, okay, because you're,
So I mix it up,
right,
go to Zumba?
yeah, maybe. I don't think I've ever recommended Zumba, not just because it's, yeah.
I know, I've heard your
Yeah,
comments.
yeah, I'm not gonna get into that one. But yeah, no, so we'll chat about all that stuff, okay? But for this week, yeah, try to get 150 minutes of cardio in. And that doesn't mean doing 30 minutes each day, okay? You can do 3 10-minute intervals of cardio training per day. Okay, so if you have time in the morning for a quick walk, go out for a quick walk for 10 minutes. As long as you're doing 10 minutes or greater intervals, that's what counts the most.
So if I run up and down a set of steps,
That's
working.
fantastic.
It's not playing.
No, but it's fantastic.
20 or 30 times in like a half hour, I'm doing cardio.
Yeah.
Okay.
If your heart rate's elevated past that 55%,
I
you're
know
doing
at the end
cardio.
of the day, I'm
Can
just
I
less.
sit up there walking?
You can, oh yeah, you include a little hill.
If you want to build muscles, carry 5-gallon
Yeah.
buckets of stone while
You
you
don't
run up and down
understand.
those
I'm
stairs.
trying to tell you.
Going like this.
Yeah.
I'm a general contractor by profession, I'm a builder, and I had this faint idea that I was gonna come up here and dig a basement out in 2 or 3 weeks, because where I come from, you put a shovel in the ground, you hit sand. So
Very
I
so.
came up here, and really, I lift rocks by myself that weigh 200 pounds, and I'm building rock walls on my property like you see up here. And I just thought, with all that rock lifting and sledgehammering and picking, you have to get some muscle, but I don't get any muscle. I don't get any muscle. But I also married to a vegetarian, so I have to fight for meat.
All right, so I'm gonna do blood pressure, girth measurements, and then Becky and I, did you sign up for the skin caliper?
Yep.
Okay, so the 2 of us, or the 3 of us will go do that after we're done with the blood pressure stuff. So if you want your blood pressure, okay, I'll come right over there, I can grab it. You've been sitting for long enough. Okay, if you don't, no big deal. If you want your girth measurements, I'm gonna do that as well. But after that, if you don't want anything done, you're free to go until we meet next Monday. And remember, next Monday, we're gonna do both, okay, classroom setting and down there, we're gonna do a little cardio training together, okay? And so most likely it will be a small little circuit, okay? So make sure you bring plenty of athletic wear, okay? All right. Who wants their blood pressure done?
I'd like to try mine and see what it's like.
All 4 of you? All 4 of you?
Yeah.